Hey everyone, so in this video we will learn how you can have your data real time in a Google Sheet for tracking. So let's go to the screen. Here if you see I have this database of Google Sheet form, and here is the table, leads table. And if I show you the code, this is the code structure. So this is just the fonts. This table, this folder you can ignore. Then there is PHP mailer. This also we need when we are sending the emails, but since we are not sending the email, this video is just primarily for the Google Sheet part, so we can also ignore this. And this uploads is where actually the files, after if a user uploads the files, then it will come here. Then we have this add to Google Sheet. This is the main file, and in this file I will just go through it once later, but let's just see the other files. This is index.php, that is the main landing page, you could say. And here is the style.css, just for basic styling. And then we have the submit.php, which basically takes the front end data and sends it to the phpMyAdmin, the database, for saving the leads. And if I show you how the form actually looks, so this is the form, Google Sheet real-time data. Here you can see we have multiple fields like title, first name, last name, brand, company, institution. So all these fields we have. I have used one function to just dummy data. So it's just showing the dummy data. You can change it. But right now, because we need to check it again and again, that's why I have kept it dummy. And so this is mainly the data. If I just if I just change the name here, and if I do submit, then you can see thank you. And if I go and check my table, so you could see that this is the lead I just filled out. So this is currently a basic flow of when you add the lead. When a user submits the form, it gets to the thank you page, and the form primarily gets submitted to the database. Now basically the main part, that we want to have this data real time on a Google Sheet. For this I have, you can see a file, add to Google Sheet.php. This file, submit.php, this file is just for taking the data, because when the data goes, so it comes to this submit.php, and that data primarily gets saved to our database. So you can see here is the command, insert into the table name and all the fields. So this is primarily a basic thing. And if we go to the add to Google Sheet, so we will check this proper code one by one, each line. So first we have this ini set display errors, memory limit. So this is just for basic debugging that we do. Then we have the default time zone. Here we are defining that we want to keep Asia, Kolkata as a time zone. And here we are adding the server name, username, password. This is mainly the database connection. So server name, currently it's localhost, because I'm running it using the XAMPP server on my local machine. But when you are doing it on a server like a cPanel or a hosting, then you add your database, your server URL here. Then we have the username, the password, and then this database name. So database name, we had this database here. So database name, you can see I have various databases, and one of which it is Google Sheet form. So I have added its name, database name. Then we are creating the connection here using all these value we just added. And now what we are doing in this file, that we are accessing token data. So basically, if you see Google Sheet, it's a Google product. So we need to get some things added. We need to have that API calls and all to basically get that access token, refresh access token. So this is a function, and in this function, if we go to this function, we are getting this access token data. If I take you to this function, you can see here in this function we have this client. We need to fill this client ID, refresh token, client secret. So these values, then we have this Google APIs.com OAuth 2. We are having this URL token. We need to have this URL. Then we are basically sending the values the our values, the client ID secret, to this mainly URL, and we are appending these values as a value. Here you can see curl post client id as a params, we have added it, client id, client secret, and all these things. And grant type, we are asking this Google APIs for the refresh token. So we are basically telling it that please provide us the refresh token. And then we just do it when we execute this curl command, and in return we get the data. So what we will get from it, it is the refresh token that we would basically need to have the connection with the Google Sheet. So with this, we first need to have these things. So how do we get all these values? So to get all these values, we have basically the approach that we are using is very user friendly. So if you are, it's not that as a developer you come into only this scenario, so I just tell you. So in various forms, in various situations, you come through certain situations. So we are going to follow this approach that I have actually used ChatGPT. So I gave it just this file, and if you just access this command, access this chat basically. So I'll go to the here and I'll open incognito, and then I'll open this chat. So here I had added that how to get these client ID, client secret, and refresh token. So you just need to follow along all these steps. So this is Google OAuth 2.0 offline access stuff. So it will explain one by one. So first you need to have a Google Cloud project. That is the basic essential, because we would be having a connection with the Google API. So would you would need this Google Cloud project, and on this console.cloud.google.com you need to go there. And I have already a Google Cloud project. I have already my ID set up on it. So after coming here, after a successful sign in, you would need to go to a project. So I'll go to just this dummy project, my first project. And then the next step is that you need to have a project selected, and then you need to enable the Google Sheet API. So this Google Sheet API, where you will find it inside your project, you need to go to APIs and services. So let's go, and here I'll search for API and services. You can find it here. What we need to do next, we need to go to library next. So here we are, and in library we need to search for Google Sheets API. So we need to enable it. We are already, I think, in library. Yeah, here is the library. So we need to go to library, and here you will come up, here you will find like the various different libraries for it. Like this is maps, software development kit for iOS. This is when you are adding these maps to the projects. So various different libraries are there. We need to search for the Google Sheet API. So I have searched for it, and now you can see we need to enable it. I think that is already enabled for me. Okay, it's not. So I'll just click on enable. The next thing that you need to do is that you need to create the OAuth credentials, ID and secret. So here we have this credentials. I have clicked on it, and when you come to credential, you need to do this add create credential, and here you can see OAuth client ID. So request user consent to so your app can access the user's data. So I'll just click on it, and we have application type. So I am going to use web application. So you can do all these configure consent screen, scope, skip, your email, app name, anything. Okay, so I'll just add Google Sheet, and then this I'll ignore and will create it. Okay, so here you will come up with the client ID and client secret, and I'll just copy it and will paste it on the function that I had. So client ID, then client secret. Okay, this is done. Okay, you need to press on OK. OAuth client created. Then let's just go back and we can see now create OAuth client web application. This we already done. Okay, so we also needed to do this authorized redirect URI. So let's just go and edit it. We can add it, authorized redirect URI. Okay, so you can add it here, add it, saved. And then client ID and client secret, we have got it, we have added this also. Now get refresh token. So refresh token is basically whenever we are just authenticating ourselves with an external system. It could be various external systems are there, it could be some payment gateway. So you need to first authenticate yourself on the basis of your client ID and client secret. You will send it to the server, and an access token you will send it to the server, and in return they will give you the access the refresh token. So refresh token, there are two types of tokens basically, access token and refresh token. Refresh tokens are basically short lived, they have some expiry, so they needs to be generated again and again, whereas an access token is a kind of permanent token, and most of the times access tokens are used to create a refresh token. So now we need to have the refresh token with us. So let's go back and see how we can get it. So this is the one time only, we need to get it one time. So use OAuth playground. We need to go to this basically site and configure playground. We need to add it. So okay, so after clicking on that OAuth playground, you will land up on this screen, Google Developers, and here you need to click on this gear icon, and then you need to check this, use your own OAuth credentials, and then it will ask you to fill up the client ID and client secret. Once you fill these up, you just need to close this, and here you need to input your own scope. So this is the scope I had copied from here. So this is the scope, Google API, auth, and spreadsheets. So spreadsheets is basically the scope, since we need to add this to the Google spreadsheet. So then we need to go to the same screen and make sure that since I had this ID on my this Gmail account, so I opened this auth playground from here only, because then in the next step it will ask me to sign in. Here you can see. So make sure that you do not do in a separate window. Then it will say that Google hasn't verified this account, so we can even submit a verifications request to remove the screen. We can actually ignore it, and then for emails already has some access, we can also ignore this thing. And then it will give we need to click on exchange authorizations code for this token, and once you do that, you will have the refresh token and it immediately goes. So here you can see we have this refresh token here also. So access token is this, scope is this, refresh token. So let's just copy this and we need to add it to the application. So I am adding it, and I have added the refresh token also now. And is anything left for this file to work? I think we have pretty much added everything, and now I need to create a Google Sheet from this only account, and we need that spreadsheet ID for it. Let's just confirm once that we have done all these steps. So this is done, exchange code, refresh token, then we will get the refresh token, and then we will get the final values. So now we need to just create the Google Sheet, and on the same account we'll need to create it. So Google Sheet, I'll create. So create sheet, and this is the Google Sheet, and I'll give it a name. Google Sheet tutorial. And also here I'll add one tab name, because this name you can actually make it anything, but this name we need to add it in our code, so this will get affected. And in this Google Sheet, what we would need is that the ID. So you can see here we have edit. So this you can ignore, but before this edit, you need to copy these full ID. This is the Google Sheet ID, and you need to paste it here. So leads table, this is the update table. So we need to paste it. Yeah, here spreadsheet ID. Code we will see, but right now we are just filling up the values. And then okay, so let's come back to the code. Here I have already commented this out, so you can check it, and I will also add this complete file in a zip format on the chat, on the description of this video. And now I was just echoing and printing it out. You can just ignore it. Next thing what we are doing is that if we get the access token and it's not empty, then what we are going to, we are having this spreadsheet value, we are declaring it, and we are using this access token, and then we are calling this function. So this function update sheet leads, what it is doing, it is taking a table name and a sheet name. Table name it is the database table name, and this is the tab name. Basically it's not the sheet name but the tab name. So that is why I said that it is very important that these two matches. So this is the tab name. So and then what we need to do, what this is doing is that it is using this connection, the connection, that database connection we have, the access token which we got just some steps before, and the spreadsheet ID. So these value, they are not coming to this function, but it is taking the global value. So that is beyond this function, that is above it. So then it is running an SQL command that select all these columns, the entries, and then the results are basically added to the query. This is a normal SQL query, and then we have the result, and in the result we might get multiple rows. So those rows we have, and then the number of rows, if the number of rows is greater than 0, then what we are doing, will add in while loop. So till the time we have the leads, the count. So what we are doing is, for every row we are fetching the row, all the data in a one row, and then what we are doing is sheet key for 2. So we are always assuming that the first row is the mainly the column, the heading title row. So we ignore, we just skip that, and then we are creating a dynamic array. So we are just taking all the values. So this row is basically that row, and out of this we are just declaring all the column names. So these all columns we actually want in our Google Sheet. You need to mention them one by one. Just ignore the formatting. So these should be in a cleaner way. So let's just fix the formatting. And then what we need to do, we are having all these fields. And now what we are need to do, that in this dynamic array we are adding all these values. So the dynamic, it was just an empty array. Then we actually added all the rows one by one, and now this is fully loaded. And in this dynamic array, what we are creating this array, and the range we are giving it, the sheet name we had already given it. So sheet name is this name, the tab name. Basically the sheet is the tab name, so we are giving it, and we are also telling him that from which value it needs to start. So it's the B1. And the sheet key, what's the sheet key? It's basically the row from which it needs to start. So first row is that, so it needs to start from the second row. So then, and the values, in the values we give it the dynamic array. So this array, actually the dynamic array which we have been adding now, so this is an array. So values and values, so first row, first entry, second entry, third entry, so we are providing it. And then what we are doing is key plus plus. So whatever the key, so first we start from the first entry, that is the first row, we make this up, we add it, and then second. So it keeps on increasing, and this loop stays till we have all the entries covered. Next we have the updated URL. So updated URL we have, We the spreadsheet id we add, because here is mainly where we want to add this data. So now the data has been made, we have made the table, and then the updated data. So what we do, we get the updated, this is the url where we want to actually make the request, and this is the data that we want to append to that url, basically the sheet. So then we just make the request, we add the update url, we add the access token to authenticate ourselves, and then we add the update data, and then we just mention the kind of request it is. So that is the post request, because we want to add certain data. So and then once this process is done, we are having this leads updated successfully. So let's test this out, and in bottom of this we just have normal code, like this is the curl code, how it's basically to make things easier. So in curl we are adding this url access token. So and this is post curl, which we basically used here. So this is also a function. So what this function basically do is it takes the url, the access token, data, and method, and it is again sending the preparing the curl resources, and then adding the http headers for it, and then it's submitting the response. So these are all basically the helper functions that we had created. So you don't actually need to remember all this, I just explained you this. You even don't know need to have all. So basically, you don't need to memorize all of this, because even I have not memorized it all. We just create things out. It's because of the AI. But it's that we need to know that what we are doing, so that we could debug it, because many times AI also doesn't respond correctly. It's just a very little mistake, but it is not able to identify it. So that's why we need to know how the code is working. It's just that you don't need to write it one line by line. So just know that how things are actually functioning, how things are actually working. So this is pretty much done. And okay, so now we have added all the variables. So let's go back to the browser screen, and we need to run this file. So what I have done is that I have added the folder name on the XAMPP server, and I have added the name of the file, that is add to google sheet.php. Also, one thing that I might have missed creating the phone column, which I added later. So ensure that all the fields, their structure, when if you are working on this project, or if you are just testing it out, or if you are working on some other project, do ensure that the fields actually match it. And also I had did one more mistake, that here I we did called for the this field phone, but we didn't select this field here. So we also need to select it, because if we don't select it, how are we going to fill it in the leads? So that is two things that you need to keep in mind. That first is that you have all the column names with you, and the second thing is that you select those fields, and make sure that you have same fields here and here. So it's not that you don't select this field, because select basically means you are getting it from the backend, you are getting it from the database. So selecting it and then calling it. Next we just run it. So if I run it now, yeah, you can see we have leads updated successfully. And if I just check the database, the sheet, the database has 3 entries, and so is our sheet has. So our sheet has these 3 entries. So in a server, like right now it's on local. So when you are working on a complete website, so what you do is you set up the cron jobs for this thing, that various cron jobs work for it. On regular interval, you run those cron jobs like every 1 minute or every 5 minutes accordingly, and then they keep on fetching the data from the database where your actual leads get stored, and from that database your leads come to this. And just also ensure that here you have like here is the sheet key. So sheet key is basically that from which column, from which row we need to start appending. So this is like the key, and +2, because one row is the first one, and like suppose this is the third row. So the first row as the current row plus 2, because the previous row and the first row. So this is there. Plus here if you see na, range is basically from which column we should start it. So we should have it started from the column A. So this thing you need to keep in mind, and this is how it works. So if you have any questions or any doubts on the same, you can ask me in the comments, and I'll just add all this code in a zip format in the description below. And if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe this to this channel, and thank you so much for watching.